Hi world, it's Sunday the 31st of May 2020. It's about 7:30 in the UK time, and 7:30 p.m. that is, and this is the first of two videos I'm doing. No jokes on this one, but I have to share this with you. For those of you who don't mind a little bit of button pushing humour and who have got a ribald sense of humour, this is the last thing I'm going to say on the Boris Johnson Dominic Cummings affair, because their bolt is shot. But go to YouTube and just YouTube Boris Johnson Jamaican and Dominic Cummings 500 miles, and you will howl with laughter. Boris Johnson Jamaican and Dominic Cummings 500 miles. You've got to have a good sense of humour, and you've got to be not easily offended. Now, over the course of this year, I've been talking a lot about various things that are coming up, and I've been saying a few times that the stuff we're going through over January through to May, certainly January through to the end of March, was kind of like the opening salvo of what's coming up. And now here we are at the very end of May. And America is burning. I've had a few American clients texting me going, we don't know what's going on in our country. And they're all safe, but it's happening in many cities in America, and today it's happening in the UK in a number of cities. There's more and more protests going on about Black Lives Matter. What's needed here, especially in America, it seems to me, is a gesture of strong leadership. Someone who's capable of standing up and representing all of the people, and a voice of sanity and reason. Someone intelligent who's in a position of power and responsibility, who's going to stand up in a way that's going to command respect and get everybody to listen, to defuse situations. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But we're in eclipse season, and the set of eclipses we're experiencing at this time, or will be experiencing very shortly now, because the first one's coming up in a few days' time, is directly affecting a lot of different Geminian charts. Boris Johnson, President Xi of China, Donald Trump, all of these people are being affected by the eclipses of the next few months, and all of them are becoming a little bit rabid. They're reacting instead of acting. And it seems that as we get into the very end of May and the start of June, we're beginning to notch up. The days of COVID are temporarily behind us, at least in the northern hemisphere. It's not going away. Of course it will come back. In a slightly different form, I suspect. But for the time being, other situations are going to start taking precedence, and the more we get into July and August, we're going to see some bovine scatology of the highest order when it comes to the irresponsibility of certain nation states and certain national leaders. And that counters directly with what I've been doing in the last 24 hours. Yesterday afternoon, UK time, yesterday evening UK time, about 20 past 7 in the evening, I watched the Endeavour Dragon X launch from Cape Canaveral in Florida. And after about 2 minutes, once they were up above the first stage of the Earth's atmosphere, I noticed one of the astronauts let loose a little helium-filled dragon. That just cracked me up. I watched the first stage land back upright on the launch pad. Incredible. I watched the stages separate. And then I went outdoors at around about 10:15 p.m. UK time last night, and I saw the spaceship, and the people I was with, we all saw the spaceship going in the southwest in a long straight line fast, and it was spectacular to see Bob and Doug. And then this afternoon UK time, I've been watching the spaceship dock with the ISS, International Space Station. I've just been watching the astronauts come out and join with the crew, the Russians and Americans who are already up there. And you know what, I was a kid, I saw Apollo 8, Apollo 8, land on the moon. I saw Man on the Moon. I've got an original newspaper that I saved from that time. I was 14, maybe 15 when man landed on the moon. 13 even. 13, 14 years old. And I remember it. I remember this really grainy footage of Man on the Moon, and it was still unthinkable that it really happened. And I've had my suspicions over the years, but you know what? The thing about conspiracy theories is that when there's conspiracy involving more than one, people talk. A secret is only a secret if one person knows it. If more than one person knows it, eventually someone talks. I've realised that as I get older. And I'm pretty convinced now that the Apollo landing did happen, even though the technology at that time was very clockwork and elastic band driven. But I saw the Apollo landing, I saw Man on the Moon, and I've just seen this Dragon X Elon Musk stuff yesterday, and the clarity of the pictures, the sleekness of the technology. We've come a long, long, long way in 51 years. It's basically the Chiron return of Man on the Moon now. And any child of 13, 14, which I was when Apollo landed, who's watching this today is going to be inspired, regardless of what country they're in, what colour they are, what religion they're being brought up in. They're going to be inspired by this. And because it's the kids who are going to be inspired by this, it gives me hope for the long-term future. When I see the cities burning in America, when I see the protests that are beginning to take place on the streets in the UK just in the last 4 or 5 hours, the social divisions are probably going to get worse before they get better. But then when I see the spacecraft and the hope that it represents to so many people, particularly the youth, it doesn't balance it out. It gives an alternative perspective. Now my glass is normally half full, but it's just a paradox. You've got something of real hope followed by at the same time as something of real tragedy, like what's happening in America now. And I'm sure that there's many of you who are going to be going, Trump will sort it out, and it's all left-wing radicals, and it's not. It's disenfranchised, disenchanted people who haven't got jobs, who haven't got money, who feel abandoned and let down by the society that's supposed to look after them. It's not going to go away. So with that, I'm going to end this, and straight after this I'm going to post another video on Global for June 2020, and that's going to be a bit of a humdinger. Catch you later, world. Bye.